Okay, here we are again. So it's like 5 in the morning. It's not still the middle of the night, even though it looks like it. That's my plant light. I just turn those on when I get up. And so, anyways, but I'm going through a thing that I was like, this is the kind of stuff I got to talk about. Luckily, I have made friends on here who will sit and talk to me. Like Amy, I am sitting there like, oh, my neuroses is coming out now. But anyways, I feel like that this is something that I got to talk about. Oh, God, I'm uncomfortable. Um, Stella's laying right here, so I have this pulled in a weird place. So it's like I got to adjust and get comfortable. That that um, so let's just go back to the explant thing when the whole thing had started. And so there was all these different things happening because this is some I'm talking about, because it's not just the explant, it's like whatever it is that we want for ourselves, like it could be anything, but there's always things that get in the way. And so I don't know, it's like typically there could be something that I really wanted, but then something will come in and get in the way and block it. And then it's like, oh, well, I guess I better take that. Can't do that. I better do this. And so it kind of puts you off of being able to follow through on what it is that you want, your desires, your, how you see things, because the challenges that come across. And I feel like the challenges are there for us to, like hurdles. They're there for us to jump over, not to always be like, submit, submit, submit. So this one is, so I had my surgery, like all of this stuff to find the right doctor that agreed to do it, and then find them, and they're in Seattle. And so I have to get to Seattle for the surgery. Then the whole thing with the money, which I made that work out, except for Wednesday. I still have this last payment to make, and it's going to be my Social Security check. And that's another thing that I had seen, which I am really confused about. I had I posted a link to, I keep leaving links in my comments to different videos of things that I talk about. So I'll move that video up. But when I had linked it in, my other one was still downloading. So it's not linked on yesterday's, it's the day before. I'm pretty sure. But this lady that I follow who talks about the financial crash all the time, and I hadn't seen her in a while, and a video had just popped up yesterday. And this is where it's like, because there's like a lot of things about it. I definitely did not see it going this way. And so then it's like, man, is this for real? And then the whole thing, there's like a lot of weird things, because we'll just kind of talk it through. So this article that she was pulling up is saying that Trump has now signed on to the BRICS nation. In the picture, it shows him and Vladimir shaking hands. And it has this whole thing about that we're going on to the BRICS nation, the gold standard, all that stuff. And that he's already signed on, which then you got to go like, okay, so where's the authority coming from? Is that part of the awakening? Is the, how is Trump doing that? But there's a lot of people not even paying attention to this part of it, So then, when you are like, well, how would he be able to do that? He's not the leader. But then if that is the way they went, this is what I was saying, is like, I didn't see it going this way. But this would be an awakening thing. And it would, I mean, I could see how a quantum computer would come up with this. So that he signs on, which would have to get everybody to be like, well, how in the hell could he make a decision like that? That would lead to, oh, well, he's really the person in charge. These other guys don't have a say. That's why the BRICS nations are going after them like they are. And that would stop, this big World War III and all that stuff here in America. but we got this giant ass storm coming. And the footage in Africa is pretty violent. And I mean, one thing is even a truck was blown off a bridge in Cape Town. And so a big truck is like driving on the bridge, and it's like, and then it just blows over the fucking bridge. It's like, ugh, how far down did it go? Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine being the trucker driver. Oh God. Some of this stuff is so intense, man. It's like, fuck, man. God, some of this stuff is like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. I don't want it in my head. It's like, Jesus. But so, and the water is super deep and it's rushing like a river through the town. And some of these waves are supposed to be like 85 feet tall, which is totally a tsunami. And this system, whatever this thing is, if it's a monster, if it's a ship, if it's, who fucking knows? Like, what the fuck it is? Like, it's got to be disclosure. But as it's coming, and it looks like there's this one girl who she is, because a whole bunch of people are talking about it. Everybody seems to be panicking because it's fucking wild. And so she was asking the place that does this thing, if this could be an anomaly. Well, the storms are already going. Like, it's, how would this anomaly be creating a storm? So it's obviously real. And because right where it says the storm is going to be, the storm happens. So now it's crossing across the Atlantic. And it's supposed to be hitting into the East Coast like Monday, I think. So we have this 2 days of it crossing over. And then, I don't know, it could hit Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday afternoon. I don't know. And who knows if it is like storms are coming in while it's still out some, you know? Like if it has like a huge thing, I have no idea. And then over here on the West Coast, there's a whole thing going too. There's this huge storm, because Weather Daddy keeps showing there's this huge storm coming up. There's activity. There was a tsunami warning in Chile. There's like earthquake. Like there's so much stuff. So over in the Ring of Fire over here by where, you know, we've got something going on too, which, you know, that's both sides. And the girl who was looking for the anomaly, she's saying this thing looks like it's almost the same size as the United States. They're saying the system looks like it's the size of Texas, but it looks like the size of the United States. I don't know. It just looks huge. Like I had said, it looks like fucking Greenland or something. But I know Greenland's like really huge. Greenland is supposed to be kind of like Africa. It's like Africa is way, way bigger than we have any idea about. They've lied about Africa. And then something about Greenland too. Like but Greenland may be way smaller. I don't know. They've lied about a lot of stuff. So this thing though is huge. It's like the size of a state, a big state. And it could be half the size of our country. I don't know. It's fucking huge. But you think about that system going and how far it can reach in. So it's going to be storms. And like that one girl who was looking at the tracker for the flooding, it was showing the floods coming way in. So there's going to be a lot of shit going on over on the East Coast all during this week. And then who knows what's going to be going over here on the West Coast. I have a girl who I talked to who's in California. Well, I have a couple. But this one, she keeps like saying stuff on her videos like, how weird the weather's being, like they'll crank up the sun and then all of a sudden it'll be freezing cold. Like they're trying to, I've talked about this before, they always try and create the two systems, because when the systems clash, the hot and cold, it creates a storm. That's what we have, micro, macro, everything's micro, macro. And so and the storm has to do with this flipping, you know, so it all goes together. You just don't know what things are, which things, like what's going to cause this, what's going to cause that, you know. It's like we're just going in it. And I see like one of those like domino things where all of them go down. And it's like you don't see as they're all going down. But then once they're down, then all of a sudden you see this beautiful pattern that was created. And so, yeah, we don't know all the different things that are going down, but are all leading to this beautiful thing, a beautiful ending, a beautiful pattern. And so But as they fall and hit into each other, it is like, fuck, micro, macro, it affects us. And so the storm that is going on, like, and that of course can affect Seattle, where I'm supposed to be going to. And that's why I was trying to, be more like, okay, I can cut some costs. I can make it. I'm not behind on anything. I could power through, hurry up and get this done. So, because there's so much going on. It's like the ending of something, trying to, it's like you're trying to tread on water to hurry and catch up before it all falls. Which I just saw a video of a dog that went running across. It's like out at a barbecue pool party and everybody's standing around, and this dog takes off running, runs across the pool. Runs just like walks on water, but he runs across the pool. Everybody's like, what? And then the other dog comes running up and he stops and goes around it. It's like, oh my God, I think if you believe you can do it, you can do it. And this is there's a whole bunch of things about this thing. Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead and skip around because then get back to the storm thing and the money thing. And so we got all this stuff going on that's going to keep us all busy. Like when you got a storm or a flood or any of this stuff, where's your focus? You're not going and listening to financial news. You're focused on the drama at hand. And so they can be having a lot of this stuff going on while we're all, trying to clean up our messes. There's this stuff going on, which, also works good. Like where you can see the quantum computer would be like, yeah, that's the best time. They're going to all be focused on this. And then you bring that through. And so then it's all of a sudden, because there's going to be, they were saying in this that you would be able to change all your money over to rainbow money. The rainbow money is the new currency. And so whatever money you have, you'd be able to change it over, which in all the banks are not going to be banks anymore. They're going to be financial institutions that will go in and help you do your financial planning and help you do stuff like that. But it's not going to be the same. They can't charge you money or any of that stuff. And so that's a part of it. They can't charge you interest. They can't charge you loans. See, it all has to fall apart. That's why I thought it would fall apart, then sign on. But no, if they sign on, then it falls apart. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're going at it from the other door. And this is like we're coming in the back door. And this is where I was like, man, I didn't see that coming. But it makes sense if this is real, that the computer would say, this would be the least violent, the calmest way to do this. So if which, I hope that it all go. And then it seems like after they do that, then everything would fall apart because there would be nothing holding up the dollar. The banks, the loans would all fall. And, that would be a lot less dramatic. Like if the bad people were trying to create this huge drama of this, they were trying to hold us into their thing to put us onto, their passport things where we had to be their lab rats and do what they say and stuff. So they wanted more control of the money. But the way they were going about stuff was so evil and corrupt that, of course, it's going to crash. Driving up the prices of stuff, the inflation stuff. So, of course, it was going to crash. They couldn't continue the way it was because their greed has taken them over. But it's all a part of it. It's like that was always going to be. The greed would, the greed would eat itself. The beast would eat itself. And then we would be left as the debris. But the debris, we are, we're like the cicadas hatching out. Like we are, that is funny. That is like micro, macro. These cicadas that have been, for the 13-year cycle and the 17-year cycle or something, and then they're going to meet. Like that makes sense on that part of this freedom that is happening for these bugs that have been dormant for so long, that at the same time that we are coming out into freedom. So that's like the micro, macro. Everything is expression of everything else. And so So if this is real and the money crashes and stuff, then it would start being like, then the housing would go down, all these different things, but it would be a lot more calmer than, for everybody to think they've lost everything, to give them the stuff first and then take away stuff is like, man, that would be a lot. But it could be, just an article written that is trying to get people, like, everything is to try and wake us up. That's for sure. Even the bad stuff that is happening, that the bad people are doing, that the good people undermine it to try and turn it so it works to our benefit. So things that seem like that they could trap us, but really it's waking us up. So there's more and more and more of that. Like, that's picking up steam. That's like, whew, the locomotive's getting going now. Like, it's full of coal. It's taken off. And so that energy of us being able to see the truth beyond all of the lies. And but that is our part of us is awakening, like our DNA, our intuition, our ability to see past the illusion. All of that stuff that is inside of you has to awaken, because that's the stuff they turn off to keep you trapped into the game, playing the game over and over, just trying to survive their game. And so then, which you can't survive it. You always die off of it. You always die out of it. But that's changing. The game's changing. So what the game was before is not what the game's going to be now. So anyways, man, I'm all over the place. I swear, in my head still. I still feel strange. But man, we've been sleeping better. Look, she's still asleep. Like, she got up and she moved over here, but like, man, I was sleeping so much better. Feels so much better to just go to sleep and just wake up after. It's been 8 hours that we slept, or I did. And then I don't know, there's something, but I was already awake. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just going to I remember what it was. I hadn't turned my phone to silence, and all of a sudden it made a noise. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if it was making noises all night and I didn't even hear it. But once you get to a certain part of being more awake, then you start hearing things, So anyways, I obviously didn't have awareness of the whole room. Like, that's another thing. I feel like it has been, I don't have that constant chatter of what's going on in the room all the time. And so it's like a lot more peaceful. Like, I feel like I go to sleep in a second, and then I just, well, for the past, I don't know, few days or week or something, and then I wake up and it's like, wow, I feel so much more rested. So anyways, let me think. But there is some days in there where it's like, ugh, I'm waking up beforehand. But anyways, it seems like there's a more calmer thing at night. Oh yeah, and the thing on the back of her leg, I had soaked it, and all that pus and stuff had come out, and then it popped back up and filled itself back up. So I soaked it again, and I pushed. It just opens, like, with the Epsom salt. It's just like it makes like a little opening or something. And so pus started coming out of it. I pushed it up and squeezed it, and I could feel like these chambers. And she'll turn and jerk, like she can feel something in there, like it's not comfortable. And I'm not pushing hard, squeezing it or something. No, it's just like pushing up, like, I don't know, kind of like milking it or something. Like, push it up and just let the stuff come out and hold a rag there. And it was like a whole bunch of stuff coming out. And so then yesterday I noticed that the little thing is barely, it's so small now. And so I even soaked it last night. I was like, man, it's so small. I should get rid of the rest of it. But it does seem like now it's more healed. It's going back, it's fixing itself. So that's a positive thing right there. Because it was like, fuck, sometimes that stuff is so overwhelming. You're trying to fix something that you think is cancer. And then, and I just saw this girl. I've never seen her videos before, but her videos just started popping up. And I don't know what all the deal is. But so one of the videos I'd seen, she was talking about something. And so she had from here to here, all of this right here was black, scabby. I mean, looks a fucking mess. All this. And so I had to go onto her page and see, like, what's up with the thing? What is that? And so I was looking through and found that she has some kind of face cancer. And I don't know what hers is caused from. But she is sitting there saying, I wish I would have just had it cut out now. See, that's always their fucking solution when you go in. That's what I'm telling you. That what they would have done is I would have kept saying stuff about this and going in, and they would have biopsied it. They'd already said it had to be biopsied next because it had already grown back, because that is a malignancy. That is when something is growing back. And that is when they can go in and see, like, is it benign or is it some kind of thing that's going to keep growing back? Well, it already had showed it's going to keep growing back. It had gone off, grown back, come out, grown back so many times. And so because I had done other treatments besides going in and having them burn it off. I put aloe vera, castor oil, it would come off, then it would come right back. And so I knew something was up, but I still didn't know about the botulism cancer that people are having in their faces. And I wouldn't think that she would have got something like that there, but I have no idea. I mean, it could have, like, there's so many things. Like, I don't know. I'd have to go in and research or thing more. But so they would have, done the test and it would have come back. Who knows what bacteria that they would have said, well, it's blah, 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 because I have no idea what they would say. I don't think that we're being told everything is honest as it should be. So, I said, it's, flufferuferous bacteria, and it's going to continue to return. And so we're going to have to go in and scrape it. And I've heard these different things, like, especially with people who are older, because so many people go in and they've got these spots, and then people are getting their fucking faces dug off, all sorts of stuff, half their nose cut off, everything. And so I already knew that's what they were doing. That's their solution. And this girl is like, I wish I just would have cut it. This is so painful and stuff. And, this isn't painful. It's annoying. And if I hit it with my fingernail, it'll hurt. Like, I can't sit there and scrape it. That'll hurt. It feels like a raw kind of thing. And, but I feel like it's getting better. Like, I feel like that used to be that black spot. There used to be like a black line that was going right there. And, so I keep doing the, and it hurts too. Like, it's really sore. And, but not like hers. Like, her whole fucking thing is open, seeping wound. And so I keep moving the lymph to move the bacteria down into a drainage system. So I keep doing that as part of the thing. Then, I haven't put any of the oregano oil up inside there lately. It has felt so much better though. But that's what I would do still, and still like horse paste on there and stuff. Like, I did that. And when I did that, it seemed like this little black ball came out, like a seed or something. And then it has gotten dark a few times, but not like what it was. After that little seed thing came out, I felt like it was a lot better. And so, but what they would do is they would go in first, probably because it's so near my eye. This would be so fucking huge. Like, so they would have to go in, scrape it out. Then they would start digging. They would start cutting out parts of your face, maybe even scraping your bone and stuff, like totally deform your face. And like, if that girl, I don't know what piece, like what she would have got cut, but that's another thing too, is they can cut it out. And then if it comes out around anywhere, then they'll go in and, well, we have to cut out more. We didn't get it all. And so, they do that all the time in surgery or in cancer surgeries, all the time. There's more to get. Oh, we didn't get it all. And so, but to me, it is, you go natural and you've got something, then your body is going to fix it. You got to remember too, it's a hologram. That's where they get you really trapped into this flesh and blood, and it's out of our control, and, all of this stuff. And so it is a lot more of you to be able to get it into your mind that, nature will fix it. I will just keep working on it, give it my attention, give it my love, and focus on it. Like, I don't know what this girl is doing. Like, to me, she should be doing like the castor oil. I think somebody had just told me too, in the comments about this black salve, which I also had gotten that. I also got the boron spray and the black salve stuff, which is supposed to be for these cysts and stuff. You can put it on there and it draws out the stuff. So I'm going to use that, especially on her one that is shrunk so much. That stuff comes on Tuesday. But something like that, maybe, like you'd have to do more research into natural stuff, but putting something on it to keep it where it's healing and getting the stuff out, and but keeping it moist. Like, her thing is almost like, it would be like if you've ever seen impetigo on a kid, where their nose is running and they're always licking, and so they get this big red scaly patch that can turn, like what hers looks like, a blister that's split open. So hers looks like that, but it looks severe and like crazy. Like, I'm not kidding you. It's black. I would be freaking out. To me, any of these things, like, I don't know what hers was like when it started. And she said they gave her some topical things. So they're giving her some topical murder cream, It is going to be like a chemical thing and a chemical assault. And that's probably why it's eating her skin up on there. Like, the castor oil and stuff isn't eating my skin up. Nothing is eating me alive. Like, well, the bacteria is trying to, but I'm, keep fighting it back. And then another important thing too, anything you're fighting, you've got to be healthy in your own self. You've got to be at your, you've got to focus on your health. I cannot get this across enough, is it how important it is. And it has to do with the detoxing, just all the stuff I was saying yesterday. It has to do with this detoxing. You have to get the chemicals out of your life, because it is like a chemical experiment. It's like you've got too many mixed in there, and it causes all these interference, and it's going to cause more problems in your system. It slows down your infiltration. It sets your metabolic system off. That is all of your endocrine. It sets your hormones off. It gets everything out of balance. It funks you up. And so you can't be taking a bunch of chemicals and think that you're at your healthy optimum best. Even one fucking of their chemical pills are going to set something off. The dominoes that go through your body to keep you going all day long, it knocks a domino out there, knocks a domino out there. One fucking pill sets off your system. It causes this part to have to compensate. It has this part then that thinks it doesn't need to work anymore. It has a whole thing. And so that is why, and it takes a while to get yourself back in balance. Even when you go off that stuff, it takes a while for your body to rebalance itself, because it's been so off. And so that is such a huge part. And then, the parasites, like all this bacteria and all this microscopic, even where they're putting fucking full ass fucking larvae, like full ass fucking worms climbing around in people. And they're putting that stuff, like these tapeworms and stuff, like tapeworms in your fucking Burger King. Like, all this shit is done on purpose. And don't forget, the restaurants get their food from this is how they got all this control, the corporations. Because once they own everything, then they can say, oh, you have to buy it all from us. Then they can do whatever they want. I totally feel like since I started getting the government food again, I'm getting poisoned again. So... and there's still poison on all our food, but the government food is definitely, I swear to God, they do extra. And they want to kill off all the poor people. And then, they only want like a certain group left. A very compliant, do what you're told, work hard, have no identity. Your feelings get hurt about everything. Like the group they want left is very controllable to them. The rest of us, they don't want any useless eaters. They don't want any, all their bullshit. So, and that's how they see us, you know, if we're not productive in their society, we've got no use to them. But anyways, so the having to do all of these cleanses and stuff, because when they have control of the food, you know, and they're putting fucking tapeworms in it. And how many people have tapeworms? Like, I mean, that's just so weird how that guy saw that. And you know, how many people ate Burger King that week from there? How many other burger joints have the same shit? Because they're all buying the same fucking food, the same meat and stuff from the same places. So when they get this stuff inside their food, then it is going to be inside you. It's going to grow, and it's going to start taking from your resources inside of you. If you're not already healthy, it's going to be draining you. That is this aging. This is why people start looking like raggedy. Their hair's drained. Their weight is fucked up because of the metabolic interference. Their skin is fucked up because they're drained of minerals. Their hair's falling out because they're drained of minerals. Like, all of that stuff is all preventable, and they know it. Like, that's why aging isn't real. And so, you know, of course, you know, you get older by the day, but it's not older on the sense of what they're saying. Think of it more as experienced. And so it's not like you're getting older, you're getting old, just accept it, you're just getting old. No, it's fucking fake. And so on top of the parasites inside of people, and they're fighting that, and then they're taking chemicals, their body is drained of all of its resources, and it has no abilities to not be sick. So anything that attacks you is going to attack harder. Like, you're fighting against something that is going to be winning. And so if you've got some kind of like little cancer thing or whatever it is, whatever thing that they've told you you have, that is where you got to focus, is getting yourself to your optimum, because then your body will do the rest. Your body will take care of itself. But you've got to, you know, go in that direction. So the detoxing, the cleansing, which you got to do pretty often. I mean, I think like there's some people who do it like once a month on the full moon. And it's probably a good idea to just do it on a regular basis, because, yeah, we're getting larvae and shit in our food. And it will grow inside of you, and you won't even know it. And so all those things, you know, you have to go at them. And then you got to, and then add in minerals and nutrition. How you eat, how you take care of yourself matters. Your body will show. You will show how you, I mean, just think about when you go out somewhere, you can look around and you can be like, oh, they take good care of themselves, and they look good. Well, that person, man, they don't take care of themselves at all. Man, I wonder if they even like themselves. They don't seem like they even like themselves. They seem sad or mad or bitter. You know, you can see it. You can see it in people. You can see the people who take care of themselves, that they have a sense of love for themselves. Like, fuck, I'm fucking worth it. And so, anyways, these are these two mindsets. And so you have to find your way through the gray to get to the part where you love yourself. And then to get from being bitter, sad, lonely, sick, there's work. You have to go and you have to see, like, why haven't I been taking care of myself? What is it? What, you know, you got to go backwards, especially if you're older and you have aged a lot. You got to go back to see, like, when did things start falling apart? It could have been like in my 20s. I got divorced. I gave up on life. I felt like that I was rejected and nobody was ever going to love me again. I started eating a lot. I started gaining weight. I started dating a bunch of bad people because I didn't feel good about myself. Like, there's a whole thing, and you just got to go backwards to get to the part, to get to the birthplace of the pain, the thing that caused each other occurrence. And so when you go back to it, then you can release it. You can see it. You can look at it. You can re-experience it through a different perspective, which is the release of it. And so then that's when you start healing and feeling better. But see, it's not like you don't jump from that to that. You got to take the steps to get from that to that. And so there, and it's a lot of steps, and it all depends on how far you've gone off the edge. And so, but you got to keep giving yourself that value that you matter, that you're important, that to keep going towards what it is that you want, and feeling good and being healthy. And so the those things though are the things that I have realized about the detox, the getting all the chemicals out of your uh, life experience. And then be aware of the parasite cleansing and stuff. And then to be aware of the nutritional value of minerals and how important they are to somebody who's made up of minerals. And so, and how our body is showing that it's being drained of its minerals when it starts exhibiting signs of aging. And they know that. And so that's why they created a whole fucking aging thing so that we could, oh, well, there's people who are trying to age gracefully, and there's people who are fighting it the whole way. Jesus Christ, have you seen Lisa, is it her name Lisa Rinna? She was like married to Harry Hamlin. She was like, I don't know, like a Melrose Place kind of actress or something. She's been in lots of Lifetime movies and stuff, so obviously I know who she is. But she had, I don't know, long time ago, she had gone and gotten injections into her lips. I don't know what her mouth looked like before, but she went in to try and get those Angelina Jolie lips. But she was way early in this, like way early, way before all these other people were doing all this. Like, she's had these giant lips for a long time. And it was weird because I had seen an article, I swear to God, it was like 10 years ago. And she was saying that she regretted it, that she wished that and I think she may even have some kind of implants or something. Like, she got a whole thing to get these giant ass lips. And so she was saying that she wishes she would have left them or something like that. It's a regret. And now, look, she's out on going to some event or something, and she's walking in. There's a thing to me, I don't know, there's a like loving yourself, and then there's a full of yourself. She definitely put off the air of full of yourself. I don't know that full of yourself people really love themselves. I think that's why they seem kind of full of themselves instead of love themselves, because she does not by any appearance seem to love herself, especially like this girl. And when, they put on these filters to tell you serious things. It's like, this is so weird. But that's what it kind of reminds me of. And so, if you are doing all this stuff to change your face, then obviously you don't love yourself. Like, you can try and trick us, but yeah. And so now she has done something. Now, it bugs me because I feel like that sometimes they turn, this face into like a caricature or something, because they all want to go get these fucking, I don't know. Some of them, I think, do some kind of an implant into their cheeks to give them these high cheekbones. It's so weird too. It's like my whole childhood, it was like these fucking cheeks were a goddamn nightmare to me. All I wanted to do was look like the other girls and not have these giant protruding cheeks, and which they were fully packed at the time. And so now to get older, have them finally sink in and be like, okay, it's getting there, but you still have this very thing. And it's weird when these people keep going and doing this to their face. And so there's one that's so extreme that she's very creepy looking. And she's the one I had talked about a couple weeks ago. And I had seen her, and she was saying, how rude people say rude stuff to her. We're all allowed to love our face and do our face how we want. And how dare people say stuff to her. But she definitely looks like some kind of weird looking thing, which I feel like a part of this is to kind of, in the awakening thing, is to get us to accept more alien faces, because there's a lot of them out there right now, a lot of faces where it's like they look like a fucking alien. And so now Lisa Rinna, she has implanted some fucking things, like she's got these protruding cheeks, and then they do this buccal fat removal or something, like when I was a kid, I would have been like, please remove my buccal fat. But mine, I still got, I mean, they would have had to cut my face. So it wasn't like just fat. Like I've got more tissue in my face than I do on the rest of my body. Like, it's weird. So anyways, but they're doing this like giant implant thing and then sinking it in, but she's got these giant fucking fish lip things. Like, it looks so weird. And she's greased her hair back. And then she has this dramatic outfit on that looks like space age or something. Like, she fucking looks like an alien, 100%. And the way she's walking down the street and she thinks she's like king shit. And I was like, man, you seem so insecure to do all this stuff, especially like a Megan Fox. When she's sitting there on a show, an interview show, talking about all this fucking surgery that she wants to do on her face. Oh, what? The buckle, the fucking, all this shit. And all these people keep doing it. And I feel like they look so strange. And then I feel like it keeps making me look like I'm doing this to my face. I'm not doing this to my face. This is my fucking natural face. I've not had any fucking implants in my cheeks or any buckles sucking out. And I don't know. It really, it offends me that these people keep like turning my face, I feel like, into a caricature because they all keep doing it to their face and they look fucking weird. And like Demi Moore, she did the fucking same thing and then sinks them in, and then they all do this going around with these fucking ginormous lips and stuff. It's fucking weird looking. And so anyways, that looked weird as shit. I don't even know why I went on that rant, but if I finished that rant, I'm not sure, because I still haven't gotten to the part that had me ranting up this morning so much that I wanted to get to. And so this is, okay, so let's move forward into my insecurities, my fake ass shit, and me trying to clean up my fucking mess that I've created for myself, which I'm fucking glad I didn't do all this stuff. Like, these people, like, I don't know how you get that shit out of, like, I don't know how they would change it. Like, once you have changed it, like, that dramatic, and then you get to that feeling of, like, I just want to get back to myself. Like, why was I so insecure? Why was I changing myself? What was I doing? But then you're, like, stuck with some of this stuff. I would think until you get in the med bed will remove all that artificial stuff. So, I don't know when those are, but if they're starting the BRICS Nation, like, it's got to be getting closer. So, yeah, if I keep having really weird things with my throat, even if, if that is fake, then we'll see. But, I'm hoping that it's real. Like, I would be cool if they did it that way. Like, that, I could see how it could all still, they sign us on the BRICS, and of course, everything on the dollar would have to fail. But we wouldn't go through the same crisis because we would still have money. It just won't be their money. So anyways, and then we go into a time of abundance, and that could be right on the edge. So that is another thing that could be happening right now behind the scenes, and I don't need to worry and panic. But anyways, so on my thing, I was looking for the doctor, found the doctor, and that was taking a lot of trust on my side. Like, I have a lot of conversations with my guides in the universe and seeing the sign. Like, there's a lot that goes with this stuff when you start manifesting your desires. When you go towards what it is you want, there's always going to be things that are going to be happening, and there's reasons for it. So got to the one point, find the doctor finally. And then, and like I had said before, even when he was saying that, no, we have to do this, and you have to be put to sleep and all that stuff. And then I left, and I was just like so mad at myself. That's why I like look at these people and I think, man, they got to go through that whole part of just being, so mad at myself. And, and that's part of healing. You're letting go of everything artificial. Like, I don't think you can skip parts. and be like, yeah, well, big deal. I'm artificial. I like fake shit. I'm a fake ass person. Like, no, that's not the energy that will go forward. And so we're going into this other time. It's about nature and harmony and connection and unity. It's the fakeness is ending. And so, anyways, I see it as a part of we all, the parts of us that we had associated to this system in order to feel better about ourselves or whatever it was, you know, our insecurities, how we dealt with them or whatever. That is what we got to heal. We got to let go of that stuff. So this seems like a part of the process to me, which, you know, there can still be, they'll all go through their healing and then they'll get into the med bed and it will fix them and they'll get the artificial shit out. But to me, it's a part of it. You have to fix this part. And so I feel strong about that. And so the, going towards that, and then I was so mad at myself that day. But I kept on hearing, you know, that he was going to think about it and he was going to call me. And but I needed to purge out my other stuff. So I couldn't just sit there and listen to them and go, oh, okay, no biggie. No, I was at this other space that I needed to purge out this anger at myself of like, you know, being so stupid and insecure and taking such a big step to interfere with my own body like that. And so many things, just the whole thing, like when, you know, you go in and you ask for a B and then you come out with a double D, and I should have had a bigger fit about it. I should have stood up for myself more, like things like that, where you like replay things and you look at yourself and you see things and, you know, you got to go through that process. Like, man, wish I would have done that. Fuck, I wish I would have done that. But, you know, you can't go back and change it. It's just about re-looking at it, re-experiencing, re-understanding yourself to come to this point where you're like, okay, you got it's the journey to accepting yourself. There's there's a lot of steps to it, and so finally getting to this part, and I knew there was going to be interference. I knew that I was going to start getting hit with things because of, I was making this choice that I was going to focus on me and I was going to cut everything out except for that. And I was going to go in and get it as fast as I could. And so Wednesday would be my last payment, and it would be my Social Security. And so if it really is that the BRICS nation is, then, I don't know. Well, there's one thing too about the BRICS nation with Social Security. It's supposed to go way, way up. It's supposed to be like, we're going to get like $5,000 or $7,000 a month or something instead of whatever. Because some people get like $600 a month. It's all different. Like I had a really good job, so I've had it pretty good. I have not been like with other people's who have really struggled. So that was a benefit for me. But women who have like housewives their whole lives, and I don't know, I think my mom gets hers and my dad's, but there is, but see, he had another wife. Like there's so many things about it, like all their shit. But most people who are older on Social Security are poor as fuck. And most of them don't even have an extra retirement. They don't have any extra money or anything like that, which that would have still been ahead of me because my long-term disability ends when I turn 65. Then they're like, oh, well, you don't need it anymore. You would have been retired anyways. Now you're stuck on Social Security. So my income would drop again because when the first time it dropped, when I lost my license, it went down by 2. You get like a third of your income. And so that's a fucking big jump. That's why I lost my house, lost everything. It's like, you have a third of your income all of a sudden. So, and when you have a lifestyle. So anyways, but that all had to happen. It was part of, my reevaluation of life, reprioritizing. Like I said, I just went through it ahead of time. And then when I was going through it, once I got to a certain point, that's when my guides told me, oh no, this is about to go down. This is about to go down for everybody. This is a time of change. This is a reevaluation of life. And so, and then there's been more, like that when you start seeing like, oh, so I'm supposed to put myself out there. I'm supposed to talk about this stuff. It's like, ugh. When you're somebody who has been, ridiculed and put down and stuff your whole life and made fun of, and then plus when you're insecure anyways, that's like a lot of jumping forward for yourself. Like that's why I said it's like you got to move up, like the throat chakra and stuff, to speak your truth. Like it's not something that is just simple. So don't get mad at yourself if you aren't doing all these things. There's steps to get you to them. And I've been taking these steps for a long ass time. And so, because remember, my brain injury was in '09. And that is when all my shit started happening. And so I've been doing this for a while. And in the whole time while you're doing it, you're always getting new perspectives. It's not just like you're just going and everything. No, you're constantly being seen and shown new things. Hold on. She's going to keep ringing the bell. Hold on. Now, while I'm up, I'm like, I'm getting a little too comfortable because now while I'm up, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me run to the bathroom. It's like you guys are just sitting here with me. Okay, I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, so let's get back to, I can hold it a little longer. Let's get back to so you have like a journey. That's the journey. That's your path to self, the path to enlightenment, and it's facing all these different things. And so and throughout it does, as your perspective changes, it opens it more and more and more. And that is what we have going on, people's minds opening and opening and opening, and everybody's just like, whoa. And well, it brings out a lot of different things in a lot of different people, because it does seem like the spiritual side now is starting to hit into a wall or something, because the one girl who I was talking about, who like she put on this filter, she's always put on these filters. She's the one who does the tarot and reads the Bible. And I don't know. I mean, maybe she reads the Bible to try and explain it to him in a different way. I just don't listen because it just, I don't know. There's just a weird vibe. And then plus the filter thing all the time. And then, and she's another one of these people. Oh, this is what I look like. This is what I look like with makeup. Okay. And so she was doing this video with her filter on, talking so serious about what the spiritual community, all these people that she really loves, big accounts that she's been following so long, are really going through something. It must be that they don't have their protection up because the devils are getting them, and that they need to learn, this protection, because there's so much going in there. Like, she's telling this whole thing. I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was just like, oh, so now they're being uncomfortable because they're not facing something. Everything is going to make you uncomfortable if you're not facing something, and everything is going to keep pushing you into it. And all those people, the love and light people, were always like, no, ignore anything that bothers you. And it was always going to come up. You can't ignore something. It's always going to come. Like, it's there for you. It's not there because it has nothing to do and you can just be like, oh, go away. No. And it's there because you have to process it. And so there's going to be a huge, like I said, for so fucking long, all this fucking spiritual community is not awake. They have not reached that point of facing themselves. So that, all those people have to. And her sitting there saying that, I was like, oh, maybe that's getting going now on the spiritual side, where it's like they're out there, oh, you should be living your best life. You got to just put your vibration over here, ignore everything else. And all these people who are going to him, asking him for help. I'm like, yeah, but this keeps going wrong. Well, you're not doing it right. You're just not doing it right. And keep telling them. It's like they're totally misleading people. But so, because, they should be saying, oh, well, you got to face that stuff. You got to heal it. And as you heal it and stuff, your vibration will raise automatically. You don't just jump over everything and ignore it all and then just focus on what you like and think that that's how, no, I don't think that that's the way the world works. And my story is how I think the world works. And so I, got the surgery, got it scheduled, have all this stuff with the money and all. I've gone through all my appointments. I've jumped through all the hoops, and now we're down to this last bit. And I knew that there was going to be some kind of a challenge that was going to come up. I didn't know for sure what it was. I thought, okay, they could come and suddenly evict me and then say, you got to get out. And, or my car could break or something that would happen. And so then you think, okay, so did I make that happen because I thought it was going to happen? Or did I have the awareness that something was going to happen and then it did happen? That's up to the people, because most people will, in this certain community, they think that you make it happen because you look at it. I see it more as I can see things ahead. It's always been that way. And it's been in other people's lives and stuff. So I don't think that I am making things happen, but I don't know. That could be something that I'm here to learn as a soul, that no, you make it happen as soon as you think of it. I don't know. So anyways, my car started doing this weird shit, right? It started doing, it's been doing some weird stuff because the water leak thing. Oh my God. It's so foggy outside too. So foggy. Oh my gosh, Stella. There. That's it. Okay. Oh, sorry. Fuck. Man, I just climbed over her. She came up next to me right at the same time. My foot went up, kicked her in the head. The chair tipped back. Oh my gosh. I could have just totally tipped over that whole, oh my gosh. Okay, I got to remember that there is people, it's not just the Archons. The Archons are trying to cause problems, but there's an energy there that is also pushes the chair back down. Okay, so she's got a treat. Let's see how long this holds her. Okay, let me just get through the rest of this story, because this is where I'm trying to share, because this is where it's bringing up so much stuff. So, and I've been ranting about it already to Amy in our conversation this morning. But it's like, man, this is stuff that I've got to talk about, because this is the stuff that I feel like that people need to look at this process that I'm going through. And so so everything's scheduled. I've jumped through all the hoops. I got one payment left to make, and everything seems, like it's going smooth, except for this whole thing. We've got storms, we got money, like, except for the system is ending, right? I'm trying to catch on to the caboose as it's going by. And so then my car started doing this weird shit. So it had started first, I think, where I kept having water in it. And then I couldn't find the leak. And this had happened a long while ago. That's why I had gotten the carport. And it was my ex who had found it, and he said there's some kind of hose and it gets clogged up, so it's leaking into the car. The mechanic guy yesterday, he told me it's probably coming through the sunroof, whatever it is doing. And I said I'd covered it all, and it still was getting wet. So there's something weird. But however it is, that the water is getting inside my car. And so I was already having that frustration. And then, of course, the car smells like mildew. And I kept having mildew in the car. I was having to go out and clean all the mold and stuff off the car, because there's something, like right now, even this weird weather systems they keep doing is doing something weird inside my car. My car starts fogging up and all sorts of stuff. It just is a lot of weird stuff. Like I have to open the doors in the daytime. And right now it's not wet, it's not raining. It's when it rains. And so, but it's still fogging up inside. And so I keep thinking, what in the hell? Like, I know there's weird shit with this atmosphere. Like, I know all this stuff is fake. I've been talking about it for so long. And so I just see signs all the time of weird shit. And so then, and all the time when me and Stella were doing road trips, she would always be in the back. That's why I wanted a station wagon, so I could have the back be for the dogs, because it was Winston at the time. I had Winston and Stella before, but then Winston died during quarantine. And I, I wish I would have known more about all the parasite cleansing and stuff then. I just didn't know all the stuff. And then plus, though, I also, when I was married to that last husband, he always bought him shitty food. And I didn't, I'm sure I still gave him real food. But still, they had that shitty food from Walmart. And because we had these two big dogs. And so he would always be like, I don't know. There was just a whole thing where, it's dog food. I mean, it's got to all be fine. It took a while before I started seeing the documentaries explaining about the dog food and the poison and all that stuff. Once I started seeing that, yeah, it changed my thing. But Winston had that a lot. So his cancer could have been growing for a really long time. And doing a parasite cleanse, once I had figured it out, may not have helped at all. He could have already had so much damage. It's just like one of those things, like you just don't know. But it's all those are all like the pins in our life to teach us. These are all like pins in the journey to teach us things. And so, it's not like I did something wrong. It's just for me to evaluate, to look at it, to get a bigger picture, a bigger view of things. And so anyways, so while I've been doing these road trips, then all of a sudden, one of the days, I couldn't get the back opened, but I wasn't going on any trips. This happened more recently. I was here, and the back of the car wouldn't open. And so I tried and tried and tried and tried for weeks. It wouldn't open. Nothing I would do. And then I was driving down the street, and suddenly it just popped open. I was like, what the fuck? I pull over, shut it, and then start driving again, and it does it again. And then I was like, okay, well, I can't just pull over for fucking 5 minutes and shut it. Like, what the fuck? So it's just kind of like bouncing. And I was like, this is why once the thing had locked and not open, I was like, okay, I can't put Stella back here again. This is, there's something weird. Like, this is always my worst fear. Like, you're driving through this intense traffic through Seattle. Everybody's driving fast as fuck, 6 fucking lanes across. And, and Stella's up there going up and walking and trying to get comfortable in the back behind me. And I'm like constantly telling her, get away from the door, get away from the door. And that is always a panic to me. And my cousin did fall out of the car. This is also kind of strange because when she was really little, it was in Kansas, and they were driving down the highway, and it was a lot more. It's not like anything like now, where there's all these fucking 6 lanes and stuff. Like, you could be driving down a highway back when I was younger, and not be very many cars on the road. And so she was driving down the highway, and I think her and her brother were fucking around, and she fell out of the car. The car door opened, and she fell out. And so that has been something always in my mind, like, fuck, you can fall down and fall out of the car on the fucking highway. And so, and then the weird part is that years later, when she was 19, is when she got killed on the road in a bike. As she was riding her bike. And it's just so sad because she had just, she married a millionaire. It was one of the guys that would come over to our house all the time. These millionaires, I said, that was always hanging around. And he had a son, and his son met her, and they had like their own plane and stuff. And she married him, and it seemed like, oh my gosh, her life's just like turned into a dream. Farm girl. I mean, a serious farm girl, not been off the farm. And I think that wholesomeness, and she was really pretty. And, as a big draw. And so she got married to him. They were only married like a year or something, I think. And so she must have got married like right when she turned 19. She could have been 18, but I think that she had turned 19, but then she ended up dying still when she was 19. And when they had found her, because she went out to go ride a bike, she was trying to get in shape, and nobody knew she was pregnant. And so she went out to go ride her bike before her husband got home, and somebody was driving behind her, and then they took off and passed. Well, the person behind them just sped up and hit right into her. So she was killed out on the road, and they took her, and she had no ID. So they went and held her in the morgue. So she was a missing person for like a week. And the family was panicking and stuff till they finally found her. It was like a whole big drama. And it was just super sad, the whole thing. But it's just weird, you know, like she had that near miss when she was little, and then it ends up that she dies in the same way all that time later. But anyways, that's just a little thing to like look at the world and life and how it works. And so she now how am I getting back to the, I don't even know why I went off on that. So let me see. Let me just get back to me again. So then the car with it opening, then I was like, well, fuck. So something is really weird. And that's when I start going, okay, I'm going to have to go and take it into the car guy, but it's going to be some freaking big thing for him to try and figure all this stuff out. So it's going to cost a lot. And I'm getting this surgery before before the car gets surgery. I was putting my surgery before Stella's surgery. Like I was prioritizing me. And I knew that there was going to be challenges. I knew there was going to be things that were going to come at me to push me to be like, you know, like you know, to go and not give myself the value, not give myself the thing. I knew that there would be things that would come to challenge that. And so, and I kept feeling like the car was going to do something because it was so necessary to get me to the surgery. And surgery is at least 2 hours away. It's 2 hours if I had no traffic. Very likely it can be 3 hours. Like I'm definitely probably that day I'll leave 4 hours ahead of time because of the, you know, I would look at the thing and see how the traffic's running that day. But I definitely will leave earlier. I won't leave like 2 hours. That would be way too chancy. I would at least leave 3 hours ahead. And so, and then the last time I went, when I ran into the traffic part, and like I said, it said it was 23 miles from the place, and it said it was going to take me an hour to get there. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then the traffic started stopping. And then my navigation said that she would take me another way that would cut out 10 minutes, or it was going to cut out something. And it seems like it was more than 10 minutes. Maybe it was, I don't remember what she said. But so I was like, okay, I'll go what she's saying. So I went the way she said, and it took me all the way out like I was going to Spokane. I was like, what the fuck? So I had to go way out, go all the way around Seattle and come in this other side. That's what it seemed like. And so I got in there and got my appointment and stuff. But so, you know, I'd have to leave early. And, you know, there's a long drive if your car is just like fucking jacking up. And so then I went to go get water the other day because I'm trying to make sure everything is done. Everything is ready. Because I can't do shit. I can't lift shit. I can't do anything for weeks. And so I won't even be able to lift up the water. But so I sure wouldn't be able to go get some and stuff. But I could get like a neighbor to come on and put a new water bottle on top of it or something, you know, if I run out before I can lift it. But I also filled a bunch of bottles and I'm going to set them out on the thing. So I'll have a whole bunch of bottles. So I'll try and use those for a couple weeks. And then use the other thing. I keep thinking I would be fine. But anyways, but I went to go fill my other jugs, so I had water. And while I was sitting there, because somebody was, I ended up being in a line to get water, that all of a sudden my hazard lights went off. And I was like, what the fuck? So I thought, you know, my phone is sitting on the little thing. So I thought, oh, well, maybe it hit the hazard lights. And so I took it down and turned them off. And they came back on. So I turned them back off. They came back on. I turned it back off. I was like, okay, what the fuck? And so then it kept doing it all day. And then all night, I had the neighbors texting me, your hazard lights are going off. And so I get up in the morning and it's like, okay, so fuck. And then it didn't go for hours and hours. And I thought, okay, so now it's stopped. And then all of a sudden it started again. And so then I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to go up to the mechanic. And so I drove up to the mechanic and he was sitting outside. He's always so nice. But he is a big, like everybody takes, like his parking lot is so fucking full. And everybody, like, and he's so loved. This guy is like the nicest guy. It's so crazy because he was an employee of the guy who owned it originally. Nobody liked him. That guy was a dick. He was such a dick. And then he decided to retire and sell it. So he sold it to his employee. And his employee is, oh my God, everybody loves him. He's got integrity. He's kind. He's low key. Like, he is the coolest guy. And he's really young and he's got a young family. And he's got another employee, which is weird because they look like brothers. I don't know, they could be. But when you're talking to him, it's like, which one are you? But anyways, you know, he's super cool. So I go pulling up and he always will come out and talk to you. He'll come out and run a code on your car. He's just so nice. And so I went and pulled in and he's sitting there outside enjoying the sun, eating his lunch with his friend. And I go up and I said, my hazard lights keep coming on and they won't go off. I just wanted to see like if you could run a code or something, or I don't know what the fuck. And he was like, oh, let me check, and puts his food down. I'm like, oh, I can wait. You can eat. And he's like, no, it's fine. He's always so, and so he goes over, he's doing all this stuff, looking at it, and he starts telling me, well, it's, Volvos are known for having these electrical module things go out. He's like, they've got a whole bunch of them. He's like, I'll have to go through and run all these tests to find which one is out. And then he said, and then it has to come from the dealership. So I wasn't even sure if he was saying, like, I'll have to go to the dealership and do it, and he'll do the troubleshooting. And then, so that would cost me less, or he can get the part from the dealership. I'm not even sure. But I was like, oh my God, this is the kind of shit. Like, look at this. My car's got all these problems. It's crashed down on the top from the carport, ice storm. Then it's got the leak. It's got this shit, you know, and it's almost 15-year-old car. And they want me to pay like a couple $1,000s a year in insurance for a car that has no worth fucking whatsoever. Now this car part, and this is what they want to trap us all into. I'm just sitting there, well, I'm talking to him, I'm just thinking like, fuck, if I still had the Mustang, just had a carburetor, like fucking this bullshit. They got us all on this fucking shit. And so the computer chip, the computer module things can end up costing more than your car has any value of. So I don't even know yet what that's going to be. And so I told him what I had going on, that I had to get to surgery in Seattle and stuff. And he said, oh, I don't think it would cause any problems with it running or something. But he said it'd kill the battery. So the battery could die because it is draining the battery for the flashers to keep going. And I said, is there any way to turn them off? And he said, no, there's no way. And so, but he has to do all this thing, and then he's always booked up. Like, I would be weeks ahead, and I'm sure if I call him Monday and say I need to get the appointment, is that it would be a couple weeks anyways. And I can't do anything with any money until I pay for this surgery. So I don't have a couple $1,000s to put into the car when that money's going to the surgery. So then, so I have to make this choice, this priority of me. And so this morning, I know that the flashes were going. I remember at some point seeing them go in the middle of the night. I don't know if I woke up for a second and saw a light flashing or something and then just went back to sleep. Oh, I think it was maybe around, I don't know. It's like a fucking dream. But so then when I got up this morning, I would open the thing to turn on this light. And I was like, it looks like my brake lights are on. Now what the fuck? Now what in the holy hell? And still in my head, I heard the car's gonna be dead. And I always hear this shit in my head ahead of time. That's what I'm saying all the time. The more that we get into paying attention to the voices that are talking in our head, and to realize, but there's a big thing too, where there's so many people who get really nasty things in their head and they think it's coming from them. No, intrusive thoughts are not your own. I don't know how many thoughts are even your own. I think the only thing that is your thoughts that are your own is when you're replaying something. Otherwise, it's communication all the time. And so So I had heard in my head that the car was going to be dead. So I go out, put the key in, and it's fucking dead. Nothing. No lights come, nothing. And so then I'm like, fuck. So is it, the module is now given out? Is this it? Even when I was driving to go get the water, I thought my car did something like, "Roar." And I looked and it was like at 4. I was like, why didn't it kick into the next gear? Like, that's weird. And because it's automatic. And so I was like, I wonder if this has something to do with whatever the fucking glitch is going on. And so then, but he said he didn't think that the modem that would be going out would cause any interference, but it could kill the battery. And so he said, you have to get it charged or whatever. And so when I went out there and tried to start this morning, it wouldn't start. And then it's like, oh my gosh. So that just puts you straight up into like panic mode. And this is the part that I wanted to talk more about, is this kind of process, because I'm trying to do something different. Because always something like this would happen, and right away it's like, I got to solve it. I got to solve it. And this is what I've been talking to Amy about this morning. I've got to fix this. I got to figure it out. And it just fucking happened. And it's like, I've got to jump in, fix it all. I got to figure it out. And I start going through, like, trying to think of all these different plans of what I can do and how am I going to get there and what am I going to do. And then I will hear, I need to sit down and shut up and just let it play out. Let things happen the way they're supposed to happen. Let the magic occur. You try and jump in and think that you got to fix it. But really, you got to learn how to sit back and allow things to fix themselves. Just like what I'm talking about in the micro macro on our health and stuff. And we want the quick fix. Here, doc, do what you got to do. Cut my fucking face off. And when we could take our time and our trust and go at it in a slow, not like aggressive, but progressive manner of our own. And so there is this other energy. It's like tapping into this other energy. And so then the car going, see, that automatically, it taps into my panicky kind of like, oh my God, I've got to solve it. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. How am I going to do it? What am I going to do? How am I going to, and I've got to figure it all out. And then it's always like, okay, but wait a minute. The universe has gotten me to where I'm at. I know it's going to happen. I know the surgery happens. So they're going to get me there. It's going to happen. I don't need to go into this panic that there's, magic can happen. Things can work themselves out. I mean, my person could all of a sudden say, hey, I would love to come and drive you. I would love to spend some time with you and let's hang out. And, that magic could happen. Eventually, one day it will. I don't know when. Who knows? But eventually, one day. And, anything could happen. Like, I have no idea, but this is the part when things are, turmoil, is where we feel like we've got to fix it. When it's like the universe is in the midst of doing its work, it's doing something. And so I feel like there's a part of sit back and shut up and just relax. Learn how to relax when things are rough. Learn how to relax when things don't seem like they're going right. Because what's meant to be is meant to be. And however you get there is how you get there. And it can be, something that you're not expecting. And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. But this is the part that I felt like I need to talk about, all this long story to get to this. Because it was, this is something that totally brings that up in me. Like, I've got to solve it. I've got to fix it. Okay, if I do this, then if I try this, if I do that, well, if I, and then you start thinking like, fuck, I don't even have any friends out here like that to be like, hey, could you drive me? Could you take your whole entire day for me? And let's go to Seattle. And especially, like, I don't even have any money right now to be like, hey, I'll buy you lunch, I'll buy you gas, or anything like that. And renting a car, it's like, fuck, There's so many issues with everything in the system. It's like, fuck, I could run into any kind of things. What's meant to be is meant to be. How it happens is how it happens. I could cause myself a lot of frustration trying a lot of different things, but whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And so it's like that, learning how to relax and letting whatever's going to happen happen. But it is fucking challenging. And this is the kind of stuff. And so this is where it's like, this is what I'm going through now, is like this trying to keep myself calm. Like it's fine. It's going to be fine. Don't panic. You're going to get there and everything's going to be fine. You're going to get that last payment made. Then you're going to get to the thing. But right now it seems like, you know, like the Archon have got me like, what are you going to do about it? And it's like, so it is very much an energetic thing. And so it's like, pull out of that energy of like, they got me, and go back into the energy of the universe. They got me. They work their magic. These guys try and create chaos. These guys work their magic. And so it's way more about this, like, relax and let's let the magic happen. But so that's where I'm at, is this. So this will, I'm sure this will be like a very neurotic time for me, because I'm trying to go against what I want to do. I still am going to talk to my daughter this morning. I said, you know, could you help me problem solve something? And Amy's already been helping me problem solve. But still, it keeps running into like, you know, there's some things that have to work out. And like I said, you know, I don't know anyone out here that well. Even to get to the car rental place, I still have to rely on somebody to be willing to take like 2.5 hours out of their time. Well, probably more like an hour and a half to 2 hours, because they'd have to drive me into town, and then they have to turn around and drive themselves back, and then they have to do it again the next day. So then that is added time. It's like, ugh. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that my one neighbor would do it, because she's just super nice like that. But, you know, it still is like, fuck, that's hard to just ask people to do stuff for you. Because I would like to be just like, even the doctor was like, well, I could give you, if you had a ride, I could give you a benzo. And then it's like, fuck, if I had a ride, then I'd be able to have benzo. And that would just totally, I mean, it would really relax you. And then probably wouldn't even feel any pain for the rest of the day. Probably just come home, go to sleep, and feel fine. Because it's like a Valium or something. And I'm sure it's like small, but like before you go in to do oral surgery and stuff, they'll do the same thing and give you like a little Valium or half a Valium. Like I've had that when I got my LASIK surgery, and it does relax you. So, you know, yeah, that would be nice, but you know, I'm not gonna, I mean, I would drive myself if my car would manage. And now it's like, okay, so if I get a rental and get there, which even that is like another cost thing when you're so tight trying to pay this other stuff. But then to be like, oh, well, I'll just move the surgery out until after my next paycheck, then there will be another thing that would happen, you know, then that's stretching it out. Then it could be that they come in and try and evict me or something. It's like, it still seems like, you know, just get this done and move to the next stage, whatever. It's just like finish, complete, next thing, finish, complete, the next thing, not just keep dragging it out and dragging it out. It's like, I've got to have this sense of trust that everything's going to work out, and everything's going to work out in my favor. But anyways, that's the part that I want to say, because this is the hard part. This is something I've been doing for so long. And it's still, when you reach into these challenges, to draw from that part of yourself, this trust, like everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. There's nothing to worry about. So that's the part I wanted to share about it, because I know everybody's got this. And it is hard. It's very hard when things just keep on seeming like, especially when you're trying to go against a current, like you're trying to swim upstream, and is like everything keeps pushing you back, then it's like, fuck, man. It can seem like draining, overwhelming. But right now it is like, we got a lot of shit going. We got these storms. We got this weird thing. If we really are signed on to the BRICS or not, I don't know. And, but I'll share the video. And then anybody who wants to do more research or something, I haven't had, time for that. But I may do it this morning. I don't know. I may try and look into it more and figure out like where the article came from and the information and stuff. But anyways, so in the storm thing, and then any of these storms can go. Like I could fucking have an earthquake, but now it's like, well, sure, I'm not evacuating in my car. Like that's another thing. Like I got 2 broken cars in my driveway at this point. It's like poverty. Like this is what poverty is. We just pile up our broken cars in the driveway and hope for something to happen. It's like, but you gotta just not let this shit. And remember, all this shit is gonna keep falling away. Everything. Like I started, as soon as I started having that realization, I started having weird things with my car, where I was like, okay, but I already knew that everything that we don't need, it was going to be going wrong. It was like the things that we would no longer need are going to be falling apart. So, fuck, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know how anything's going to happen. But at this point, I'm going to be working, and I'm not saying I'm going to be able to do it perfect. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, you guys, you just do this. You just sit there and don't do. No, this will be a challenge. Like, this is why I'm telling it. This will be a challenge. This will be talking myself through it. This is like where you do affirmations, breathing, like a whole thing. This is where you pull on your stuff and be like, okay, everything's going to be fine. And in the Archon, they'll pull you into this energy of like, chaos and things are falling apart and stuff, and that's where they want to keep us, because they feed off that energy, that our stress, our like, oh my god, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? But the quiet team, the team that's like, hey, we've got you, you can sit there and do whatever you want, but you can relax and listen to us. That's how their attitude. They're just all calm. The Archons are all like, ugh. And I'm talking about the Archons as that energy, because they are the ones in control of that energy, apparently. And as so, but the people who are in control of the universe, the positive energy, the frequency energy, there's a whole set of beings in there too. And the ones that are like telling you, but it's when you tap into that energy, you're in this flow. And so that is where the magic happens. And that is where, you got to keep reminding yourself, no, magic is coming, magic is coming, magic is coming. Even though it seems like you got nothing but obstacles. I'm on a rocky road on fire and I got to run across it. And so it's like you got to keep reminding yourself, no, that's an illusion. All this is an illusion. I'm going to get there. They're going to get me there. Something's going to happen, something magical, something beautiful, and everything is going to work out. And so anyways, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm working on, and that's what I'm going to share. And who knows, I could be so neurotic later, because I've got a neuroses. So like, I do start like, oh my God, let's just play it out and play it out, play it out and play it out. That's when you're thinking, you're spinning out on your own thoughts. And that is when you're not listening, because your own thoughts create emotions. And that's when you're not listening. Well, the Archons kind of got you by the short hairs, but the universe, you're not listening to them. And so that's where it's like you got to calm all that noise down inside of you, all that panic, and be like, oh yeah, okay, you guys said you got this. Okay, I've just got to trust you guys. You got me this far, and you're not dropping the ball at this point. And so anyways, that's what I'm going to be working on. That is what I'm going to be focusing on. But I do have a reputation from the time I was a child of being very neurotic and always worried, and always like I've been a weirdo my whole time. Like, always talking about weird things, deeper things. Like, so anyways, at this point though, this is where my neuroses, I feel like, is trying to be healed. This trust in something good can happen for you, Kelly. Something good can happen. I know you're not used to it, but it can happen. It's like, okay, you guys. Okay, I'm trying. But fuck, it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard. So, anyways, that's what my day will be. It's like, it's what now it's like 9 days. 9 days. It's like, fuck, 9 days to figure it out. I don't even know. So anyways, that's what I got going on, and that's what I wanted to share. Hopefully, that was a long ride of a lot of stuff. So hopefully you got something out of it. And remember to love yourself, Love everyone and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you maybe later today. Talk to you later.